Hello, this is Tom Carhill. It's Monday, the 12th of the 8th. The subject for today is going to be the concept of like e-bikes, e-cigarettes, e-currency. Now, it hadn't gone unnoticed to me that the concept of vaping was such a clever concept because all the spastics I know all immediately had a vape in their hand, or whatever other variation of electronic cigarettes. I went to this course once about 5 years ago, maybe a bit longer, and this guy was talking about his vape. I could hear him talking to someone else who didn't like me. And he's one of these kind of people who always had a little bag of cocaine on him, just sniffing it through the day. Yet he was on the course because he was on the dole, and I think he had 5 children. I know he had 5 children. He was about the same age as me. But he was going on about he bought this sort of vape machine or something, and it cost him like 250 quid, and he'd had a different one that was 300 quid, but it wasn't as good as that one. So you see, he's on the dole, he's got 5 children, he's got a little bags of cocaine with him every day, which probably haven't actually got any cocaine in them, but you know, they will have cost him something similar to the price of actual cocaine, but around this area where I'm from, and now increasingly even places like Liverpool, where it used to be always good, that people will smoke, and they will have vastly substandard drugs, but they still have to have them even when they haven't actually got any drugs in them. This is how thick they are. But anyway, back to the vaping subject. So e-cigarettes, yeah, right. So basically, you can stick absolutely anything in them. The government can say, look, cigarettes are bad. We think they're bad as well. But you see, nobody seems to understand. They can stick absolutely anything in them, such as, you know, what's that thing? I forget what it's called. The one that makes you into a radar signal. Graphene oxide, and that could actually be just completely loaded up with that and arsenic or something. And then once you smoke it, then you can't really complain, can you? Because you've been told not to do it by the government. They said it's really probably a very bad idea. But you see, because it's not a cigarette, people let their children do it because they're as thick as fuck. This is the problem with it. So anyway, you've got e-cigarettes, right? You've got e-bikes. This was the most obvious one to me because e-cigarettes, I don't believe they were called that to start off with. I think they were called something else. The idea is you get people to think it's cool to go around on a silly little scooter where they've got no protection. They look extremely dangerous. Clearly you have to be very careful not to fall off them. So you're downgrading your mode of transport. You're making it out of electricity, so if they want to cut the power off, you've got absolutely no way of using it, so it becomes a completely useless thing. And then you've also got, e-currency. So what they're doing is they're tricking people who are really thick into thinking it's cool to have these e-things. And the consistent theme is they brand them all with this e-concept. And anyone who can't see that e just means mugging all the peasants off, they've got nothing between their ears. Because it's not cool to have an extremely dangerous electric vehicle, or series of them probably with lots of people, in your house, any of which can go up at any time, and it's like a mobile phone going up. It could burn a house down very easily because they've got so much heat because they're electrical fires with unnecessarily noxious chemicals they use to make these batteries, which they never used to with the old electric vehicles, which are maybe 150 years old to this day, when they used to use them, and they were quite common use as well. So you've got e-cigarettes, can put absolutely any in it, you've got absolutely no comeback on it. All the chavs, they all like it. You've got drugs, which don't have any drugs in anymore, but you can stick anything in them because they're completely illegal, got no comeback. But they're not calling them e-drugs yet, but maybe that would be too obvious. Maybe they were going to call it that. Maybe I've given some people a very good idea. But the thing is that e-bikes are an extremely stupid idea. I know they've got some uses, but the whole point of them is, you know, you can't safely, the ones they have in England, they're like very thin, like actual scooter, as you mean, like the little ones that used to get in the 80s, little kids used to drive around. They're not got big fat wheels, and they've got a big foot plate where you can stick in, or 20 crates of beer, yeah, which people use them to transport goods for their businesses locally and stuff like that in other countries. They don't here. There's no possible good use for them, and they're very dangerous because if you flip over the handlebars, then that's just like running very, very fast down a road. If something goes wrong, you're going to be in big trouble. If it hits you, again, you're not going to be in that big a trouble because you are standing up, so you can probably throw yourself clear of a lot of accidents actually. Not like a push bike where you're just going to go smashing straight into it head first. But then you've also got the e-currency. So they're tricking people into the world government via stealing off them massively, because it's a Ponzi scheme, obviously, like the normal banking system, but everyone's playing the same Ponzi scheme, and it's a negative effect, a negated thing. You can still be massively manipulated, but nowhere near the extent. And people are actually still thinking, equating people who are like against the system to cryptocurrency, and they actually think it's a way of making a living. I mean, how absolutely stupid are people? I mean, I understand if you want to spend money and you don't want to have to transfer it over. At one stage that would have been a good idea, but you see, the way it works is you end up having to pay at least twice as much money, because taking the money out at the other end, you end up having to pay sometimes more than the actual principal money to put it in and take it out, because of the amount of percentage at each stage of the process. Now, yeah, if you put like $1 million in, or 100,000, something like that, it will massively change. They might want like 2%, and then if it's $1 million, they might like 1.0001 or something. It's very, very strange, and also very suspicious, I would suggest, because if you want to send someone like 10 million, and the bank wants to take like, a 0.1%, you're not really going to complain. But if they're going to do it at like 1% of 1,000 or 1% of 10,000, the equivalent of 1%, 1 per 10,000, then that's very suspicious to me. That should be suspicious to everybody. Anyway, I've been Tom Cahill. Be suspicious of E, because E is just code for getting idiots, to do things against their interest willingly, and they've got absolutely zero comeback. Thank you very much.